Hi friends, I know, I'm back for 2 in 1 day. I could not extend that earlier video any longer. It was well over an hour, the one that I spoke about the Brenda Gervais retreat. So this is basically going to be a part 2. So let me introduce myself again. My name is Barb. I live in West Seneca, New York. I'm a cross stitcher since I was at least 12, if not younger, of my recollection. I am a quilter, a long arm quilter. I quilt for clients, I quilt for myself. A mom, a grandma, a dog mom, a wife, a baker, a gardener, all the fun things. As I said in my previous video, I am in my puttering era and I'm enjoying it. I just putter. I putter from one task to the next or one fun thing to the next. So my earlier video today, and I am going to try to get both of these posted tonight. It is Friday, if I didn't say that. It is Friday, June 12th, 2026. And I'm going to label this Flosstube Extra number 33. As I said, there was no way I was going to be able to continue on. This is extra. I did mention in my first video today that I went to an estate sale, and the pictures of the estate sale included stock from a cross stitch shop. Now, what I understand is our stitchy sister passed a bit ago, but she used to own a cross stitch shop, and it's been a long time, 10, 15 years-ish. But honest to God, I think I would have bought 90% of the stuff sight unseen. It was amazing. All of the shop samples, and you know what these pieces cost to make just on a personal level. They were all professionally framed. Each one was more beautiful than the next. And they all reminded me of like blackbird designs, prairie schooler, told in a garden, all of the Jeanette Douglas, all of the things that were from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, and Heart and Hand, and I know she's been around for a minute too, but I'm telling you, it got to the point I walked in and I just started grabbing stuff because I wanted it all. I wanted it all. And then I said, Barb, you got to slow down. You've got to slow your roll. I wanted to save all of the pieces, and I couldn't. And they were just, in my opinion, just giving it away for the costs. Unfortunately, that's what happens. We know the value of what these pieces are and how much time and cost goes into these. Yet the pieces that they had priced, the finished pieces, the shop samples were just, honestly, I am this close to going back tomorrow and looking to see what else I can get. And I'm going to go through, first I'm going to go through the haul that I didn't go through in my video from earlier today. I do have a haul here from Lazy Daisy, and I do want to show that because then I can put this stuff away. It's been sitting here since before I went to retreat. So I'm going to go quickly through the haul that I got from Lazy Daisy, and then I'm going to show you the pieces that I got from this estate sale today. And I'm telling you, I was in the right place at the right time, and so were quite a few other women. So let me go through the haul first. I'm going to apologize if I have to pause because Chet is now home from doggy daycare, and he's letting everybody know in the neighborhood that he is now home, that if you walk past the house, and again, I've said before, I live on a corner, so if he sees at the front, he's got to run the front, the side, and the back. So we're going to go on dog pause. I only had to pause twice earlier in the video today. for my neighbor's dog. So this is what I'm going to start with. This is the haul that I got at Lazy Daisy, which is my local needlework shop. She is in Clarence. She is lovely. If you order online, she will ship. You can also order online and say you'll pick it up in the store, which is generally what I do. If I'm watching a Flosstube and I have to pause and I look up Lazy Daisy, you can go right on, right on the internet there. Actually, I have an app. She's got, I don't know if you consider it an app, but it is in my apps, where I can just order right then and there and pull it up. Does she have it? Yep, order it. Perfect. If not, nope, put it on my list for, Hobby House or 123. I am very much working to make sure that I buy from my local shop first, and that is Lazy Daisy. She has an amazing wall of floss as soon as you come in. Excuse me. It was a good break. I remembered that I put coffee in the microwave a few hours ago. Just hit reheat. I do not like reheating coffee because it cooks it, and I'm all about fresh coffee, but I'm also cheap because I have no money left from buying all this stuff that I will rewarm a cup of coffee. Okay, now I just got to find something I can set it on and not knock it off my table here, which, oh boy. All right, so as I said, I am going to obviously look at my local shop first. Kathy's got a great selection there, and if she doesn't have it, you can send her a note and see if she can get it, and 9 times out of 10 she can order it for you. I did that last year or a few months ago with the Lori Holt pattern Garden of Quilts. Asked her if she could get it for me. She said sure, and she got the pattern, and I said, oh, as long as you're doing it, kit it up for me. It was all DMC, but you know what, sometimes it's nice when those patterns have like 15 to 20 things of floss. I'd rather have someone else kit it up for me, and then I know I'm going to have all the floss I need, and it'll all be together. So I'm very much trying to purchase from my local shops. So it's always going to be Lazy Daisy first, and then Hobby House, because they're an hour and a half away, which is no big deal. I can always have it shipped, right? Or just take a drive. And then I go to the onlines if I can't find what I need. But I'm going to say 99% of the time I can find it at one of those 2 shops. Or if I really sit there and think about it, do I really need it? And if it can hold off, then I can hold off. So this is what I got from Lazy Daisy just before I went to Hobby House for retreat for Brenda Gervais. So I picked up this pattern and I absolutely loved it. I'm going to check and see how this is. Maybe I have to take it out of the package. I don't know. It's called Quaker Farmhouse, and it is a collaboration between Pansy Patch and Blueberry Ridge, which is mother-daughter. Okay, so this is the pattern. Trying to find that sweet spot without the glare. Isn't that sweet? So while I was there, because she only had a little bit of Cedar River, I grabbed me a piece of Spindrift, 32 count. So it's a lighter color. And again, while I was there, I kitted it all up. I picked up all the floss, all the weak dye works for it. I'm going to try to hold it up so it doesn't fall. So here's the floss. I'm trying to turn myself. It doesn't work that way. So here's all the flosses for that. So now I said that in July, I am going to do, I'm going to do what I did last year for July and gave myself Christmas presents, and that was new starts whenever I wanted to start something. So I mentioned in my earlier video from today that everything that I got from Brenda Gervais, the retreat, all of the new patterns that I got, I'm starting. I'm going to start every single one. And then I have a few others. I'm probably looking at about 10 starts in July, and I'm okay with that. If it happens to go into August, it goes into August. I don't care. But these are on my radar, and I want to get these started, especially this. I love this Quaker farmhouse, and I really think, looking at it, that it's not going to be that bad. The house is filled in, but I'm hoping with the linen that I chose, because the fill-in for the house is parchment. Now this is 32 count, and I will stitch one strand. So the parchment is very, very close to the color of the linen. So as I'm going along, I might turn around and just allow the background of my fabric to be the color of my house. We'll see. That's a decision for future, Barb. So that was one piece. And because I can never turn down linen, I must have well over 30 pieces of linen that I just bought. This is 32 count burnt sand. And I'm not sure who this is. She has an acronyms on here, and I'm not sure what the acronym is. But this is really pretty. It has a bit of a red tone to it. Again, the lights here in my dining room are yellowish. I hate those light bulbs. But this does have some browns and some reds to it. It's called burnt sand. We're already 2 on the dog paws count for this one. 32 count piece of Abecedarian by R&R Reproductions, which I also think I picked up at Hobby House, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I picked up a lot of 32 and 36 count, and I do have the one piece of 40 count that I got at Hobby House, and I showed that in the other video. This is One More Reproduction Linen by Bestitch Me. Again, another one of my favorites. And these are not turning out the way that they should. This has got a lot of modeling in it. I think all of them on this camera just look like they're yellow, but they're not. This is, again, 32 count latte by Fiber on a Whim. Very pretty. Again, just to put in stash. And as I said, I have this whole big bag here now that I gotta figure it out. So the other patterns that I got, Blueberry Ridge, and this is Over the Garden Gate. Very cute. I saw this on somebody's Flosstube, paused and did my order on Lazy Daisy, so it was sitting there waiting for me. Uses mostly classic color works. It has 1 week's dye work in it, but it also has conversion for DMC. This, I do not understand why I don't have this. Needleworker's Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. I can say, though, that I do have the quilted Tiny Town. I didn't start it yet, but I do have the pattern. I love her patterns. I love the Tiny Towns. I've stitched one out of all that I have. I did the Valentine's one, and I really like it because I found a really cute piece at Hobby Lobby, and I mounted it on that. I have a sneaking suspicion I have this upstairs in my stash, but if I do, now I have 2. Silver Creek Samplers Back to the Grind. You see that there? Isn't that cute? This uses all DMC. I like her patterns too. I like that she always does that little play on word. This might have to be a next month start too, because I do love my coffee. And lastly, now this, well, not lastly, oh, there's one after this. This pattern, I was watching somebody, and actually I have to look this up because, where's my calendar? When I saw the pattern, I said, you know, that is so pretty. And I can tell you, because as I said, what I have been doing is putting in my notebook or on the pattern that I'm stitching information for me to look up the patterns, right? So I was watching oh, Welcome Stitchery. I love Justine and Shelley. Man, if they ever watched one of my videos, I'd be all excited. But I was watching them mid-May and wrote down my note and ordered it from Lazy Daisy. Now the picture does it no justice. And it's not a very big piece, but it's called Grandma Rose. I fell in love with this. And it's one of those patterns that you know that when you stitch it, the linen that you're going to choose is just going to be beautiful. It looks like there's a lot of yellow in this flower, and I do have some roses up front that are yellow and pink, and they are just stunning. It uses all classic color works. And as I said, this is a needlework press pattern. I'm looking to see if it has a date when it was done. It is so windy, which is why my hair looks the way it does. 2025. Oh my goodness. Okay. Listen, I thought this was an older pattern. I did not realize this is a new release. But she has a picture of the antique there in the corner, and I am just in love with this pattern, and I'm thinking I would like to find a very pale pink to see if that linen would look nice with the threads, and that would be something that I would take right out to Lazy Daisy with my fabric and just lay everything out. The last thing I picked up at Lazy Daisy, as I was walking out, I said, how do I not have this? The Blackbird design, Remember Me. I'm sure you've all seen this. And these are 9 little motifs that can be put together in one large piece. Or you can stitch them individually to honor friends, family. Excuse me. Okay, we're up to 3. So I know that between Grandma Rose and the Blackbird pattern, I really want to take the linen that I have, because I have a good selection of linen now. I want to take that up to the store and just lay my floss out. So it depends on sometimes if I kit everything up. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to get the fabric right there, and then I can lay the floss over it. See how it looks. If I'm going to get the pattern, I most often don't buy all of the floss because I don't always use the called for fabrics. I would say probably 90% of the time I don't use the called for fabrics. I just don't. So I do need to, just as we want to make sure that our threads are going to be able to be seen, and for the most part I stitch with 1 thread. So if it's on a 32 count, it's still 1 thread. Okay. So that was my haul from Lazy Daisy. Now let me talk to you about this estate sale today. And I was floored when I saw the pictures come across my Facebook feed. It was held through Carnaby Estate Sales. If you're in our area, they do a lot of estate sales. And I don't want to say higher end, but they seem to be, that's where they seem to be. Some of the really big estate sales. It's hit or miss. I enjoy going to an estate sale. I enjoy going to a garage sale. Sometimes I can walk into an estate sale and there's nothing there. Sometimes I go in and I come home with a half a table full of stuff. But to be fair, I would have purchased a lot more. but it was so overwhelming, and her home was small, and there were so many people. And yes, you know, I was actually the 21st person. I got there to sign up this morning, which is the first time for me. I've never done that. I thought it started at 9. It started at 10. So I lucked out. So they could only let so many people in at a time. And when I got done, I had been there an hour and a half, and I didn't even realize it. So I walked into her living room, and there were just framed pieces. I am not kidding you when I say there had to be 200 framed pieces in that house, if there was any, right? All shop models. So the first thing I did when I walked in was I gravitated over to this area, and of course now I'm kicking myself. I had all 3 of these in my hand, but I only bought one. A shaker box. Do you know how long I've wanted one of these? And she had 3, but this is the only one that had a handle, and that's the reason why. Now you and I both know how much these are. The price was $16. Lady said to me, "Oh, it's a sewing box." I said, "It is a shaker box." That's when I knew that I was in trouble. So I just started picking up things because I just had this overwhelming sense of save the stitches, save the stitches, save the stitches. And for what they had things priced, there's this little piece. Can you see that? This is a little needle book. This is so, I think it's 40. I don't know. I would have to get my ruler out to measure. The stitching on it is so tiny. This I know was handmade because on the back it's marked OCD, which I would believe is the company, copyright 2003, 687 out of 1,000. This piece right here was $1. $1. So I grabbed the shaker box and I just started filling it with things. And I've got the price tags on here so you can see what they were. This little pillow, $2. In my earlier video, I showed you the pin cushion that I got from Hobby House that a lady makes. Here's another one. Now this is not as firm as that. It's got the strawberry on it. It has a tag that this was given to this particular stitcher in December of 2001. So this was made for her. $3. This little piece, and I'm just going to move the tag out of the way so you can see what it is. It's an angel. $2. And you might recognize where these patterns are coming from. This one wasn't even priced, so she marked it $2. This stitcher made this in 2016. It has her initials on it. 2016. I'm actually going to take this ribbon off of it, or try to anyway. $2. This about just $5. What's in the pocket, you ask? Pincushion. So this, oh wait, I didn't even notice there was something else in the pocket. Oh, another needle book. And she did the hand stitching around the ends. So this folds up like this with the little button on it. And this has got to be 40 count. And there are some specialty stitches on the front here on the acorns. Thread spool, that was $5. Sock darner, I grabbed 2 of these. They were $6 each. More for the sock darners than the handwork. And then this I could not pass up because this is mending floss 10 spools, but these are actually, some are empty, some are not, just for decoration, a little thing of threads for $2. So I started putting all of this stuff into here, and I had to leave that room because I was going to I just started grabbing things. There was a 3-tiered shelf there, and I'm like, I gotta save the stitches, I gotta save the stitches. And I do have a couple of bowls here, and I will put these things out. No, I didn't make them, but you know what? Somebody did, and somebody took the time. But this got me. This broke my heart for $1. So I put everything in the shaker box, the $16 shaker box. Okay, what else? Moving on. There was so much there. The garage, I'm not kidding you when I tell you there were thousands of patterns. And it was so cramped and so tight, and she had quilting stuff there too, and I couldn't get at the patterns the way I wanted to, and some of them were designers that I had never heard of. So I don't know. Excuse me. We have more barks tonight than I did today. So I was talking about the patterns in the garage, and I'm telling you there were boxes and boxes. There were thousands of patterns. I couldn't, it was becoming overwhelming. There were kits in the garage, there were boxes and boxes of patterns and so much. And I saw somebody, she had Prairie School in her hands. I said, did you find the Prairie School Santas? And she just looked at me. Maybe she didn't understand what I said. And then somebody else had Blackbird. And I said, where did you find those, please? And she pointed them out. And I said, okay, so this is what I picked up because there was so much more. It would take hours. I could probably still be there going through all the patterns in the garage. I'm not kidding you. That sale opened at 9 o'clock. So these are the patterns I picked up, and they were $3 each. Summer House, Loose Feathers, pattern number 14, Blackbird Designs. You know how old that one is? It is from, let me see if there's a, I'm just looking to see if there is a copyright date on this, and there is not. Okay, so this is an oldie. And I like this one. Maybe not so much the colors, but of course they're very easy to change. So, Summer House. This was $3. Thank you, Sarah Tobias. Just I'm speechless at these things. The needle case is just stunning. Now the date on this needle case says 2007. So you know, you could I'm sure figure out that this originally was $22. It was $3. Okay, all of these patterns were $3. Summer's Last Rose. This is somewhere around, 2012. I like this thread basket. Isn't that cute? That is really cute. Then I went digging through the Prairie Schoolers. Now initially, they had said that all of the patterns in the garage were $6 because they were discontinued patterns, and then they said no, they're $3. So I didn't get, I'm just putting them in order, sort of the way that okay. So I grabbed as many of the Father Christmas and Saint Nick patterns because I know that there's been a lot of people who try to do one a year or one a month. I think Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher, a couple years back, I think she was trying to do one a month, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but I'm pretty sure it was her. If not her, it was somebody else, clearly. So this one is Father Christmas. Oh, I gotta be careful here. So that's Father Christmas, and these all use DMC. I have to be careful because it's on the back here, and there's I do have to be careful because there's stuff on the back. This was just, this is the Santa collection from 1992 to 1995. Okay, I do have to be careful again with it's on the back. I might have to do the gardening Santa for this year for myself. Then we have, this is Old Saint Nick. This is from 1996. I'm hoping you can see that. I've got it up so close. I probably should have looked to see. This is 1996. This is St. Nicholas 2. And I'm going to see if there's a date on the back here. 1992. Is that what it said? No. It's St. Nicholas 2 from 1992. So those are the Santas. Then I picked up, okay, this doesn't show. This is the Village Sampler, which I really, I probably should be, I'm reading the back instead of making sure that you can see what I'm showing you. Now, I am not fond of houses. I mean, I like them. They're cute. Every once in a while I see that huge Teresa Kogut one, and I think, oh, Hometown, I think it's called, and I say, ooh, I want to stitch that, and then I message my friend Cindy, and she's like, no, you don't, or she laughs. But I like this one. I like that it has just the different houses. Would I do them all? I don't know. I might just do one. I might do two. I don't know. I think it's very cute. And then I have the alphabets, and I only really grabbed the ones, well, they didn't have them all, but I got the S, T, and U because S is for sewing. This is 2004. And then I got the X because X is for cross stitch. And again, this is 2004. I also like the welcome. The W is for welcome. So those are the Prairie Schoolers I got, and the Blackbird that I got. What else? Okay, as I said, there was so much in so many rooms. Now, those patterns were in the garage. Went back into the house because somebody had said something. They said, "Where's the floss?" One of the pictures that they posted online, there were thousands of floss, thousands of skeins. So I found that in one of the bedrooms. The majority of it was DMC. Now they were charging 50 cents for a floss. For DMC, a couple people that actually somebody said, "Oh, I recognize you. I watch your Flosstubes." She's a local lady. Hello. We both agreed that 50 cents for DMC is too much. Maybe a quarter even, because you can get it at Hobby Lobby. I think it's 69 cents. And even at Michael's, you can get it on sale for 40% off. So the DMC, I had no interest in the DMC. And personally, I have probably 2 full sets of DMC myself. So DMC to me is one of those I can get any place, right? But then I started digging through a box and came across Weeks. Now, some of this has a tag that is, I've never seen this type of a tag. I put them on a ring here because they were all over the place. I don't know if you look at this particular tag, this is called caramel, but it's different. It's more variegated. It's like a mix of color here. Can I look to see if I can you see the difference there? It's not like an overdyed, and it has a different tag. It's a Weeks tag. Like this one is called white chocolate. I think that one was called white chocolate. No, that was called caramel. But it's funny because they're pretty similar. So these were some of them with very separate colors. There's another one in here that I saw. I think it was called, here it is. It's called Noel. You might even recognize that color. It's called Noel. Holiday. Here's a blue and white one. This one is called, I put them on here so tight, Santorini. So that's a blue and a creamish color. There are some in here that are limited editions. So I grabbed as much as I could of the Weeks. White Lightning. I don't even know if I've ever seen White Lightning. I am sure some of these are discontinued colors. Or they're different, because I looked at one of them and I said, oh, that doesn't look like the color that's current now. And of course I can't remember what it is. There's a color in here, like this navy is beautiful. Look at that. Then there's another one. I did not put these in color order. I just put them on here. This is called Americana. So I grabbed all of these Weeks. Now there's over 50 skeins here. I also found some Gentle Arts. Now there's 2 types of tags. So I'm guessing, these are limited edition. This is, what is this one called? It had a name on it. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, some of these are limited editions, but the tags are a little different. This is Deep Sea. It's so very pretty. So I grabbed the Gentle Arts threads. What do I have here? 3, 6, 9, 10, 20, maybe like 25 skeins of this. And then I happened to, she had a lot of this, and I had not heard of this. It's called Crescent Colors. And it could just be, for a long time, I didn't work with overdyes. I just did plain DMC. So there's some threads out there that I am not familiar with. But I grabbed this. It's called Cayenne. Or no, it's called Chili Pepper. And I really like the orange in it. So I have at least 75 skeins of floss here, and I went up to the girl and I said, look at, I want this much, if not more. And she said, well, you've got a handful there. How's $20? I said, okay. So I have 75 skeins of floss here, overdyed, for $20. Excuse me. Okay, we're up to 5. Jeez. She had a lot of Ada, and I've got plenty of Ada from the 70s and the 80s and all straight through. So I'm good with Ada. And honestly, I pretty much, if I do work with Ada, I'm looking at 18 count, whatever I have. I don't care, right? But I did find some linen, and one of the rooms was so cramped. It was a very small bedroom, and she had cupboards pretty much all the way around, cupboards and shelving, and then a workstation in the middle. And there probably were 8 of us in that room, and it was just like, oh, right. So I wanted to look down on the shelves underneath, and I did, and I found a couple of rulers. I like these longer ones. These are Fiskars. I like the longer ones for quilting. So I got these 2, because you can never, it's like scissors. Can never have too many pair of scissors. And then I found some linen, and I looked at this, and if you remember the Rose Quaker I was telling you about. Now I know that I bought some Albarium Cedar River for it, but I also have this, and if I'm not mistaken, I can either use this or where is that pattern? This is something else. Remember I just showed you this? It might, depending on the colors. This is Belfast Linen Zweigart, 32 count. It's called Peach Whisper. And it is a very, very soft shade of peach. Now, I don't know how big this piece is, and there are some marks on it from pens and stuff like that. This is how big this piece is. Okay, and yes, it's been cut into. Oh, it's got such beautiful coloring on the front, such gentle modeling. So now the problem is, I think a lot of this stuff had been stored in the basement. So some of it has a funny smell. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Trust me. It's not like one of those that you can't work on it because it's going to smell. It's not like that at all. I'm sure it's more just that it's old, right? The threads are old, and somebody in the room said, "Oh, the thread is too old," And that's true too. It could snap and everything else, but I'm willing to take that risk, especially with these overdyes. And I stitch with one thread, and to be very honest, if I pull it too tight and it snaps, I'll just get another piece, right? But as far as using some of these linens, like I said, I have this one, and then I bought this one. Oh gosh, I love this color. It's called Cottage Rose, and again, it is 32 count. It's Zweigart. And it is a rose color. It looks more reddish in there, but it's very pretty. But it does have that little bit of a, so either I wash it first and see, which is probably what I would do. I would probably soak it in some of my quilting cleaning solution and see how it works. If it doesn't work out well, I would always use it for smalls. It's not something that's going to ruin my day. Also, again, this is there was the living room. There were 3 bedrooms upstairs, a basement. There was just so much stuff. so much stuff. So in another room, because now I'm trying to think where I was walking. Oh, in the garage, like I said. I like to look for rickrack. And I like to look for the very tiny rickrack. Like that. The baby rickrack. So I have that. I have this. Now these are old pieces. This is a package. These were 50 cents, which is funny because they were 76 cents at Hills. So this was 45 cents bought new. But I thought, well, if I'm going to buy rickrack, I'm going to buy a full unopened package. You know, but those other two, and then the red. So I got the rickracks. I am not going to lie. My heart almost skipped a beat when I found a box of hoops. And in the box of the plastic hoops, there was this Duchess. And there was this Duchess. And they still have their fabric in here, but they've been, these are not something that I would use. These are something that I would put for display. And it does say Duchess Oval on it. I don't know if you can even see that. I think this one said Duchess too, because I looked at it and I had to look at it again. It does. It's been used, so you can see it's on there. So 2 Duchess hoops. And then these are made in Germany. Look at that. Look at the topper on that. This says Pfaff. See? And another one. So these I would use more for decoration. Again, I'm not a hoop person per se. I've been using hoops lately, just because, especially at retreat, it was just a little bit more easy. But I've been looking for Duchess hoops, and every time somebody posts that they found one, I'm like, oh, yay for you. Maybe there'll be one for me. Well, today I got 2. What else? I did pick up a couple of kits, and the kits were a little bit more, I don't know, $3, I think they were. I don't even remember, honestly. This is a Cecilia Turner Heart and Hand. It's called Liberty, Freedom, and Peace, and this is a full kit. It has the floss in here. I thought this would be really cute to do for, and look at how these kits used to be packaged now. I don't know if she packaged it like that, but this is some heavy-duty plastic packaging here. So this is a piece of linen. My curtains are blowing like crazy here. And then the floss is labeled with each color. And your needle and your star. So I thought, well, that's really cute. So I picked up that. That could be a very quick stitch to put in my dough bowl for the 4th. I also picked up this one. This is a little kit. It's called Liberty. And the kit is dated 1998. So the paper pattern. Chet stop. The floss is individually packaged. And then here is, here's some more floss. And then the linen. Guess what? Guess what? The needle is in it. And it is definitely rusted. Well, you know what? I'm going to take it apart. It's not like I don't have any other linens. Oops. It's cute. I do like those 2 little ones. And then I grabbed this, and there were a few of these kits with by Diane Arthurs that there was a Halloween one in that. I was like, I wouldn't make that, but look at this. This is called Imaginations. Isn't that cute? And it comes with the snowman, or with the stand here, and it's called a bobblehead, and you've got to do, here's everything that you get in this kit. So now I'm looking at this going, where's the fabric? Where's the cross stitch? Where's the stuff for the cross stitch? Or do they just give you the pattern and you supply your own? Body is stitched on 14 count white Aida. 2003. I thought this would be really cute for Christmas. I like that it uses the sticks for its for the arms. So this I would do. This would be cute. This I would put together and kit up and take when I go babysitting. And it is full coverage. But it's not that bad. Now, there were boxes. I kid you not. Boxes of finished pieces. Not fully finished, just finished. Maybe sitting there waiting to be finished, to be hung in the shop. Or, you know, sometimes we finish something, and stitching and finishing are two different subsections of our hobby, correct? So I looked at some of these, and honest to God, every one I picked up I wanted. I wanted them all. And I said, Barb, you got to be realistic. First of all, you have to leave something for somebody else. And second of all, be realistic with your time and what you're going to do with it. Can you do something with it? Now, I do have, looking around my rooms here, I do have pieces of stitching that I purchased off of like eBay and stuff like that, just they're antique pieces. I would never reproduce them. They were reasonable. I generally don't pay more than $15 for something like that. And I like to mix those pieces with the pieces that I've stitched. So, with that said, I'm going to put them on here. Here's one piece. And this I thought will be really cute to go into a project bag. This is done on Aida. Excuse me. So this is done on Aida. It's a really cute quilt block. And I honestly do not remember what the prices of these pieces were, because they were just, it got to the point where she would just say, well, how about this and how about that? Because there were so many people there and not everything was priced, and you know, it's really kind of hard. This piece, I already have plans. I'm going to turn this into one of those little bench pillows, and not a long bench pillow, but this is really cute because to me, this shows a fall season. There's a pumpkin in here and Santa, but there's also embroidery in here. And this I found a little different, and it has little star decorations. I'm just turning them over here because they're so tiny. So it does have embroidery. So I see Easter and Halloween and Christmas and spring. And it just says welcome. But if you look, you can see the lettering for welcome is embroidered. I thought this was really cute, and I'm going to finish this into a pillow and put it in the hall. One of the halls anyway. His little buttons in there. The flowers are embroidered with lazy daisy stitches. There's cross stitch on here. So this I really, really liked. I see where she used 2 colors of green, you know, to make her floss look variegated. So I really liked that piece. And to be very honest, I wish I knew who the designers were, because I definitely would credit them. I do have a piece here that I do know who the designer is, but these other pieces I don't know. I really don't. And I really wish I did. And then here's this one. This is dated 1996, and it's just a little alphabet sampler, which I think would make a really cute pin cushion. or a needle book. That's stitched on linen. I'm pretty sure we can all recognize who this is. That's a Prairie Schooler. Hang on. And I did just remove that needle out of there, and yes, it's a little bit rusty, but that's okay because it's within the seam allowance. And you know what? Yeah, I leave my needle in my work too, but I put it way to the top. This piece, it has gold stitching in it. They look like dragonflies and ladybugs and butterflies, and I just thought it was so pretty. Again, this is stitched on linen, and I don't know if I mentioned, but there are specialty stitches in here. I do not know who the designer is. So all of these pieces, I honestly don't even know how much they were, and there were so many more. So many more. And as I said in the beginning, I walked in and I saw all of the framed pieces, and these were all professionally framed. And I wanted to bring them all home, and they were so reasonably priced. I don't think I saw anything, a framed piece, mind you, more than $15 or $20 at the. She had, oh gosh, what is that? Lavender and lace. She had a lavender and lace bride framed. It was beautiful. I don't remember the price, but it was framed big. So I would suspect that that would have been a little bit more. But I did buy this framed piece, and so many of them caught my eye, but I said, you know what, this one, I really like the frame. There's a couple of nicks on it, but I don't think that that's a problem. And you can see it's professionally framed. It's a little ripped, but this is called, it's by a designer called Kingsland. And this is a Norse sampling, chart number 22. And I used a Google search to look for that. So this is the piece. Framed, $8. Tag's right up there. So as I said, I really respect the women, and I'm sure she didn't stitch all of this, especially the shop pieces, right? There's always somebody that's always willing. I would love to be a model stitcher. If anybody knows anybody that needs any model stitching done, please send them my way. I'm actually testing a quilt for a new designer. I'm going to make a quilt and see how her pattern works. So, but we all know the time and the money that we invest in this. We never get paid for our time, right? We just, and that's like what I say when I'm doing my my sewing, my quilting, and that. Honestly, if you sat down and figured it out, I make about $5 an hour. We do it mostly for the love, right? And we understand the cost behind it. And unfortunately, once it gets to us, like finishing something, I do not finish for people. I do my own finishing. There is not one thing that I have sent out. I do my own finishing. I do my own framing. Well, nope, erase that. I sent out my October house, my Americana red, because last year when I put it into the fair, it needed to be right in the instructions. It says it has to be, in the entry instructions, it has to be professionally framed. So 99% of the time, I finish my own pieces. I really enjoy lacing for framing this. I can see they taped it. It's just breaking my heart, but that's what they did. You know, that's how things were done in the 80s and then the 90s, right? I mean, if you look at some of the things that I did, I hot glued it. So, but just looking at the time and the money that we invest. All of this stuff today and the stuff that I bought at Hobby House, I probably will never finish all of these things, right? If I'm being realistic. But it's there. It's there. I know I'm going to be starting at least 10 things in July. I've been finishing things. I see all of these floss here. I know that I'm going to be kitting up some of these new patterns. Of course, I'm going to look through these first. I do not have a good selection of weeks. I have a good selection of Classic Colorworks, but now I have a good selection of weeks. Is it everything? No. Am I going to need something? Probably. Again, though, it's really going to depend how it's going to look on the linen that I choose, right? So yes, our hobby can be very expensive, and I think it's very important that we look at and support other stitchers any way that we can. Now, rest in peace to this lady. I do know what her name is, and I'm not going to say because it's, not my business. But she loved what she did. She loved it. And you could tell by her pieces, by what she had. I thought I had a lot. Now, yeah, I know she owned a store, right? That's different. And I always joke, oh gosh, I probably could open a store with what I had. The thousands of patterns this woman had, and kits, and she lived a dream, I'm guessing. And I hope that whoever has purchased anything from that estate sale today, or if you ever have an opportunity to purchase from an estate sale or Facebook Marketplace, keep an eye out for that stuff, because there's been a couple things that I've looked at that are not, they're not what they say they are. Okay, and we understand that. There's nothing better than going to an estate sale and rummaging through the linens and any of the crafty projects or tools or things that they had. I am so close to going back tomorrow, but I'm afraid if I do, I'm going to spend just as much tomorrow as I did today. And between what I bought at Hobby House and what I have here, I mean, I'm happy that I got some Prairie Schoolers. I've been looking for some of the Santas. Some of them you just can't get anymore, right? Unless you pay through the nose on eBay for them. But I'm also the firm believer, and I did say this in my previous video from today, to pass things along. If you're done with something and you know you're not going to stitch it and somebody else can use it, pass it along. Don't gatekeep, right? Share. That's what we're here to do. I'm grateful. I am so grateful that I was able to take some of these pieces, especially these little beautiful little pillows and things that she had made, and I will put them, and you know what I'm thinking right now? I had a wooden bowl in my hand, and I set it down in the kitchen because somebody said to me, oh my God, Barb, somebody else I ran into that I hadn't seen in a while. And I set the bowl down and we started talking and I walked away. And I had thought, getting a small bowl and putting all of these little pieces into. But I'm honored to have these things, especially this. I don't know why. Maybe because it was marked $1. This piece, this is going to go in my Pataki box. And I know that someday when my kids have to do this, maybe somebody will say, oh my God, I went to an estate sale of a quilter. Oh, friends, thank you again for being here with me. I hope that if you have an opportunity to do something like this, that you take advantage of it, because, I mean, look at this. I spent $20 on 75 skeins of floss. Okay. And we know that the floss is $2.50, if not more, a piece. So I thank this stitcher, and I hope that I can do justice with the things that she left. And I have a nice little bin over there that I've been looking at, and that's where a lot of this stuff is going to go. I've always wanted a shaker box. Now I have one. I've got a couple of Duchess hoops. I'm tickled silly with that. So I guess I'm just gonna end it here, because I need to go stitch something. I'm working on the Primrose. I was going to show it earlier. I'm working on Primrose Cottage, the piece for the 4th of July, the free Stitch Friday piece, and I had a vision. I'm not liking it, but it's okay. It really is. It's going to be fine. It's absolutely going to be fine. I even went so far as to, I made a bag. I don't even know where I put the bag. I made a, I don't even know where it is. Well, now, it was on the table here. A new project bag for it, and it turns out that it's big enough that I'm not even going to take it off of the hoop, and I'm just going to finish it the way it is, or the stand. Excuse me. He gave me the time to go and get the bag. So I just whipped together. I wanted to try a new type of design, and I used a quilt to make this. I'm not happy with it. I mean, it's going to be fine for the 4th of July. And I made it pretty big. So, but it's not the way I would normally make a bag. So I won't be using this design again. I'm just trying to come up with different ways for bags. But anyway, so because I've got so much stuff here and I'm so excited, I'm going to go stitch. And then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to organize all the stuff that I just bought. So again, thank you so much for sticking around for both of these videos. I know that they're long, but I really wanted to share all about the Brenda Gervais retreat and about this estate sale, and just encourage you that if you know a stitcher, or you have an opportunity to look through somebody's stash, or make a purchase in that way, it's not always a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing, and you just might find yourself a couple of Duchess hoops. So I will be back probably next week, just to go back to like my normal format of, hey, what have I been stitching and what's going on my picker wheel and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm contemplating doing a whip parade before I start new starts in July, so I might even do that. So that's what I got going on for you. Thank you again. I appreciate if you would like and comment on my video. What did you like best? Tell me what you liked. Have you ever gone to an estate sale or picked up anything cross-stitch or sewing or quilting related at any type of sales like this? How'd that work out for you? I appreciate you all, each and every one. And to the 3 people that stopped me today at the estate sale, telling me that, you do watch my Flosstubes, I'm tickled silly. Just tickled silly. And you know what? Let's get together and have a stitchy day. Okay? Bye, friends.